Hey everyone, welcome. We'll be watching for you all on Restream, of course. Thank you so much for being here. And over there on the Rumble chat, we will be there as well. We appreciate it. Tomorrow we have, of course, Dr. Gleb Seversky in here talking about cognitive distortions and the massive distortions we are all guilty of. And really, if we were paying more attention to that and less to our feelings about things, we might understand one another better. Today, the guest is Rhonda Swan. The book she is promoting, I will tell you more about that in a second, but first I want to tell you about The Unstoppable Family. It's she, her husband Brian, daughter Hanalei, who we will also speak to. She's an entrepreneur in her own right. The parents were doing well in the corporate world, but they decided when the daughter was born to do something different. They wanted financial freedom and travel, and now they have done exactly that. Hanalei has been to, I think, over 52 countries. We will get their stories, and of course Brian has an interesting story as well. And perhaps how you can empower particularly women in your life to do things unstoppably. We will take a little break to get the show going, and I'll be right back with that. Rhonda Swan and your calls after this.
Our laws as it pertains to substances are draconian and bizarre. The psychopaths start this way.
He was an alcoholic
Because of social media and pornography, PTSD,
love addiction,
fentanyl and heroin, ridiculous.
I'm a doctor, for sake. Where the hell do you think I learned that?
I'm just saying, you go to treatment before you kill people. I am a clinician. I observe things about these chemicals. Let's just deal with what's real.
We used to get these calls on Loveline all the time.
Educate adolescents and to prevent and to treat. If you have trouble you can't stop and you want to help stop it, I can help. I got a lot to say. I got a lot more to say.
Of course, if you're on the Twitter Spaces, you can watch us at drdrew.tv, and if you sign up there, you'll also get notifications when we go live, usually 3 o'clock Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, though we will slip in some other shows during the week as well. Those of you that are on Twitter Spaces, when I do get to the calls, if you raise your hand and just let me know you're interested in coming up to the podium.
You actually request. There's a little request button.
It's called a request. Okay, request button. Susan, I think I'll make you a co-host as well, in case you need to ring in here in some fashion. And yes, you join the Spaces at twitter.com/drdrew. And that's how we take our phone calls these days on this show. And so if you want to ask a question, you can ask me anything. After I first interview our guests, we will get to that.
Just don't call me daddy.
Don't call me daddy. If you are your Mom's House fan, you'll understand where that came from. Susan, you seem to be feeling a little better. I thought I was going to have to keep you quiet today.
I was so worried I wasn't going to be here. I thought I was going to be in the hospital today.
There was a real possibility of that.
That was weird. I don't know. But, I have like a back problem, and we're not sure if it's kidney stones or a back problem.
Right. It was a little intense to be just plain old back problem.
Yeah,
but back can be an issue.
There's been a lot of picking up things and running around with things lately, so maybe I just pulled a muscle. Who knows? Drew is very careful, though. He had to make sure that I got a CAT scan.
Yeah, well, your doctor was doing a good job, and I think you resisted, but I said that is exactly the right test. That's exactly what you should get. So
it's so weird going into your concierge, your internist office, and you're like the youngest one in there. Everybody was like 80 and but I was walking slower than everybody else.
Caleb's laughing at you. You looked a little older today when you walked around. I noticed there was a guy getting out of the car behind me who was about 90, and you got out slower. And so it was really interesting. But the thing that bothers me as a peer of our common physician is we were supposed to be the easy family. We've become the pain in the ass family for him. So,
he started telling me how great my kids are, and I was like, okay, can we get back to this pain in my back? Like, I know my kids are great. Okay, thanks.
All right, enough small talk.
I know. I never have pain. I never have illness. It's just I don't think he's ever seen me like that because I'm always so chatty and.
No, you're bionic, and the fact it's very weird to get my brain thinking about you medically because I normally don't worry about it.
Well, I don't like waking you up at 5 o'clock in the morning and whining because I woke up at 5:30. I couldn't sleep and. Yeah, I gave you a little more time. I went downstairs. I thought maybe I could just walk it off, and then I had to come up and go, "What's wrong with me?"
and when Susan wakes me up in the middle of the night, it's never, "Are you awake?" It's like, True. There's a monster under the bed. It's something like that. Some of that kind of tone.
Joe?
It's always the equivalent of somebody saying there's somebody at the door with a gun. So okay, I think it's because you wait so long to wake me up. That
No,
when you
I have to
finally
think
do,
about it. I
when
hate
you
waking
finally
up.
do, it's got a lot of energy with it that sort of is startling from dead sleep. But anyway, let's talk to our guest. Again, Rhonda Swan, her husband Brian, her daughter Hanalei, known as the Unstoppable Family. Rhonda's here with her daughter Hanalei from New York. Rhonda and Hanalei, welcome to the program.
Hello, everyone.
There you are. Hey now. So let's start with the book. Tell us what's in the book. Hanalei's in the book and why we should read the book.
Yes, this is the second edition of Women Gone Wild. We launched the first edition last year. I was sitting around with a bunch of women at one of my events before the pandemic hit, and we all sat around, and these are all high net worth entrepreneur women. And we said, why don't more women sit together, share best practices, and support each other? And we said, why don't we write a book about it? Because all of us are recovering control freaks. I was a past corporate executive, quit my job to start my company to raise my daughter. And then I realized that I was taking all that old ways into my entrepreneurial journey. And so we decided to write this book. Last year, the book did amazing. And so I decided to do the Wild series. And the Wild series is Wealth, which is the book we just launched. That's this one, the Wealth edition. Intuition, Leadership, and Diversity is in the next 4 years. And we are on a mission to really show more women to support each other, to take a stand for each other, to be a clean and clear vessel for our youth, our young women of this era, and to show them to live fearlessly, that we don't have to live in a society that says we're not good enough, we're not pretty enough, we have to do certain things, or we have to, follow one track to become successful.
Yes, and let's not confuse this brand with Girls Gone Wild. That is not in any way what you are going for here in any way.
We're the new
Hanalei like
conscious
that.
version.
She got the joke. So, but can you? I don't want to give away too much because we want people to buy the book. But can you give us some nuggets, some things that you think women ought to know about being an entrepreneur? Let me ask you this before you answer that question, though. What was your corporate job? What was your position?
I worked for GlaxoSmithKline Pharmaceuticals. I was an executive fighting for the corner office. I found myself in the corner office with not many women.
What was the title? What division? What was the title?
I was a marketing executive.
Marketing.
Yeah, I was a marketing
and how
executive.
How about your husband?
My husband Brian is a robotics engineer, and we were both working corporate, and we just bought this big 5-bedroom house in San Diego, and I came back and said, I'm quitting my job because I want to have a family and I don't want to put my child in daycare. I had actually witnessed a woman put a 6-week-old baby in daycare, came into a meeting 15 minutes late, and my boss nailed her on the cross and said, if you want, put food in your baby's mouth, you're going to come on time. So I said, I had to do something different.
And when did you leave Glaxo? I'm just curious.
In 2004.
Right. And so Glaxo got their $4 billion federal fine for marketing excesses. I got named in that because back when it was Burroughs Welcome, I was doing a campaign to help raise awareness about the sexual side effects of antidepressants, and somehow I got wrapped into that thing. That was in 1997. 97. It's crazy.
Wow.
So you managed
When
to
I was
you
there,
missed a tempest.
I remember reading the clinical trials and going, what is this? Like, it wasn't making sense. And I started questioning a lot. Like, I was with Levitra, with Paxil, all these, big brands. And I started to actually question a lot. And I slowly started to be pulled from a very thin string. And which is when I realized this is not who I want to be. I don't want to represent women this way. I don't want to be a mother to a daughter this way. And so I just started to become an entrepreneur.
And so give us some tidbits I asked for that in the book, without giving away too much. We want people to read the book, but what do women need to know about this?
Yeah, I'd rather my daughter Hanalei, because I think she's a really great example in this book.
Great.
Yeah, we brought 25 women together, and it's an anthology. So there's 25 women that come together to tell their wild story. Because what we found is that most women, whether we've been successful, we've battled through whatever we've gone through, but we don't really tell the real story of how we actually got there and all the things that we went through to get to the point to where we are.
Why not?
Well, I mean, being in corporate, being a, let's say a badass businesswoman, I was just focused
Huh.
on success. I wasn't, it was not looked so kindly upon being necessarily a woman having a child, or not being able to, take certain time off for your kids. And I wanted to break that and shatter that belief system, because, I witnessed a woman put 6-week-old baby in daycare, and she was in trouble for it. I was like, this isn't right. Like, we
Yeah.
should be able
Yeah.
more. But I don't wrong it. I don't wrong corporate. I'm not a bra burner, not a
No,
feminist.
I understand,
I'll take you.
but I agree with
Yeah,
you. We should find ways to support women to do exactly what you're talking about. Figure out ways to do it. But I'm going to ask that question one more time, because I'm not sure I heard you correctly. You're saying most women will not tell their complete story, because men they'll tell you their story as soon as you ask them. Why wouldn't women tell that story?
well, I think vulnerability is sometimes looked upon as a weakness for women, sharing what they've gone through and how they've gotten there. I know, and I only say this because that was me. Women would, talk about their story, or this is happening. And it was like, listen, I beat the patriarchy. Why can't you? And I mean, I was literally knocking down, it was like that crab bucket mentality to get to the successful corner, and
Mm.
successful. And I realized, like, this is not the way women should work together. Like, it doesn't have to be that way. I've just thought
Huh.
that's what was expected of me. And, which is why I've, created the company that we've created. And my daughter, is an entrepreneur now, because she's been able to really see how women can work together, and that it doesn't have to be that force that it used to be for me.
Yeah. Let's Hanalei, what are your words on this? Let me hear your point of view and how you think about these things. I think you know what I'm asking, right? It's like, why shouldn't you do what you've done? Really is the question. And
Yeah,
why shouldn't you be quite clear about how you did it?
yeah. To kind of touch on the point that you were mentioning beforehand about women almost being scared to be vulnerable. I feel like we look at
Mm,
vulnerability as a weakness, to
mm,
share our true emotions. If you want to be successful in a man's world, you have to be strong. You have to fight like a man. You have to rise up in the ranks. This is what corporate teaches us. And I really believe that it is time for us to reclaim vulnerability and use it as our strength
mm,
instead of our weakness, and show
mm-hmm.
the struggles that we have to go through to become successful, and really being open about it, and kind of shedding light on people's triumphs and successes and failures as well. And I think it's a really important thing we need to speak about more often.
So let me ask this. So even in my advanced years here, I have learned more and more lately. I'll talk more about this one day soon. How freaking tough women are. You guys are tough. Men have physical strength, but women are tough. And one of the things that I worry about is they can be tough on each other. And so when you
Yeah.
say vulnerable, I worry that you're talking about vulnerability to other women, sort of, I don't know, taking issue or attacking or whatever the
Mhm.
vulnerability is sort of, yeah. And I hear your mom saying, but let's, Hanley, you answer that question first.
Um,
It wasn't
yeah,
really a question. It
so
was just sort of a comment.
yeah,
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
yeah, and I also
Unfortunately.
believe that yeah, I believe that we can be very hard on each other. When I was
Yeah.
growing up, and I was in school, this was before I started doing homeschool, I was bullied.
Mm,
I got
mm.
put down for my drive to wanting to grow as an entrepreneur and wanting to become an artist and designer.
How old were
And
you?
I
How old
got
were you?
put down. I was about 11 years old, 11, 12 years old.
Yeah, 11, 12. I swear to God, 11, 12 is when it starts, and it stays right at that pitch till about 70. It's incredible. It starts right then. And so you sort of pulled back from that and did your own thing, which is a super smart strategy. But are you welcoming other women's input now? Would that be accurate? Or do you want to just
Yeah,
support women? You're really more interested in supporting them who are more like yourself.
yeah, I want to be able to lift up more women like me, more
Yeah.
young girls
Yeah.
like me who never really felt
Hmm.
comfortable in their own skin, never really felt
Hmm.
confident enough to share their voice. And for the young girls who are around my age, I want to show that it's okay to speak your mind. It is okay to share your story, and it is okay to be authentic. I started putting on a mask in school, like not physically, but emotionally, hiding myself, hiding who I was for others, in fear of what others think of me. And so I want to show younger girls that they can, that they can be
I'm sorry.
themselves.
I once again had a major technical thing go on here.
We lost Twitter Spaces. So
Yes.
Caleb, can you set up a new one?
We
Yeah,
no,
I'll
have
set-
to do
I'll
the
set up
new
a new
one. All right.
I don't know. If you
I
can
don't know why
resume
that happened. I have no idea what happened, but it suddenly literally like hazed out, and
Yeah.
then when I tried to unhaze it, it shut off. So,
Uh-oh.
so
Well,
sorry.
I'll
we're
start a new
learning
one
all
and
this
send you
new
the link.
stuff. So.
All right, thank you. But sorry, Hanalei, to interrupt you like that. I think the point you were making was, I think, rather, nice to hear, really. And Mom, I'm sure you feel the same way.
Yeah, very much so. Yeah, she was. She didn't tell us for a year, about the bullying. So it's a big thing, and it's a big stand that she takes, and that we take for these young women, especially being on social media. I think it's a good.
Well, the bullying, 11, 12-year-old,
Yeah.
females do a lot of I mean, the stuff that goes on at age 11, 12, something happens, and this thing, the bullying is so common. It is so common. And it almost feels like no one escapes it. It's like even the bullies become bullied. It's a big daisy chain,
Social media,
it's crazy.
makes it bigger. I mean, social media doesn't allow them to even hide anymore.
Oh,
At least,
of course.
I mean, you do something and someone snaps it, and this is something too that we raised Hanalei. We started traveling when Hanalei was 1 year old, but she has been on YouTube, Facebook since she's been 1. She was doing videos since she was very, very young, because we wanted to teach her to share her voice and how to communicate and really share what she believes in. And that's when it really started to happen, because she had trails of videos and things that she's done, and then there's jealousy and girls nitpicking. It's like, wow, women still do that to each other, and they're doing it as young girls. And we wanted to really just bring that together and help change it.
Yeah, in a weird way, cancel culture and all the horribleness on online environments is sort of a expanded version of that same damn thing. Hang on a second. People are getting me on Twitter. Okay, hold on a second. We are going to start again. We are going to start again.
Speaking of social media.
Yes.
Sorry about that. Well, we were using Clubhouse before, but more people have access to Twitter. I know a lot of people like Clubhouse, sorry, but.
And so, Caleb, do you just text me the link? Is that what happened here?
Yes.
Okay.
And so open that in your Twitter app and just start it from there, and then I'll load back in. This is what happens when we're broadcasting live.
Don't make me a co-host.
Okay.
Don't make me a co-host in the future, because I might have messed it up.
Oh, that's what went down. Okay.
I'm going to take it.
I couldn't understand it. I was like, what?
No, I logged out of it and I went over to.
Okay. Oh my God. All right, we're back.
That was us when we were in our late 20s.
Yes.
I just want to let you know.
Ugh. Our daughter found that picture in a drawer somewhere.
No, it was at my dad's house. Those are the kind of pictures you give your dad because you don't show anybody else.
Right, and then my daughter turned it into
He passed away and she inherited it.
She turned it into a meme, so be careful.
And then
Be
I took
careful
it from
what
her
you wish for.
Instagram. Now it's out.
Thank you, Caleb. I appreciate it. It's already been out everywhere. So, Hanalei,
Do you like working here, Caleb?
Oh, yes.
Do you want to continue working
yeah.
here?
I do this in my free time. Those extra things.
So,
Silly
Hanalei,
goose.
is there some examples of your work? Can we see your fashion somewhere? Is there? Because Susan was very much admiring how you're dressed today, and she wants to see more with your style.
Yeah, I have my clothing is all online on my website, but I also have some designs in here as well, in the back closet. But
Go run, get them. Go get them.
Her,
I want to see.
her website is Hanalei
Yeah.
store.
should I
So
grab
what
them?
is it?
Go
Yeah.
for it. Why not? We're in the hotel.
Yeah,
We're in New York
spell it.
City.
I love her outfit.
Hey,
Hanalei,
I love her outfit, too.
Hanalei. RhondaSwann.com or
H-A-
swanstore.com.
And Swan is with one N. HANALEI SWAN store.com. Okay.
That's her store. Yeah.
And then oh, I see it. Now, Caleb, you put Hanalei Swan on there. Okay. Okay. Show us what you got. Oh, here comes something. Susan, here you go.
We don't have a steamer in this hotel.
Oh, yeah. Super wrinkled.
So all these designs are made from eco-friendly.
Oh my God, that's beautiful.
See?
Yeah,
and so these are
beautiful.
some of my earlier designs. The dress, you can't see the full thing, but it's a slip dress.
A little wrinkled, but that's okay.
A little bit wrinkled.
That's gorgeous.
Yeah,
she uses all sustainable materials. She really cares a lot about the planet.
My mission.
Just you know, Susan is the new fashion police. So just be careful. She gives you the thumbs up. It's a very meaningful.
We're not prepared for this one, Susan.
No, she didn't care about that. She's interested in the style.
That's cute.
Yeah.
Was that like leggings with a?
These are tops with
Oh, cute.
Back, on the chest or wrap behind the back. And
nice.
And so my main goal with my clothing is to empower women to feel confident in their body, and I also choose to use eco-friendly and sustainable materials to help the earth, because fashion is the second to third largest contributor to waste on our planet currently, and so we are damaging the planet with what we wear.
Based on that's interesting.
Water it takes. Check this one out. You'll like this one, Drew.
Yeah, how much water do you think it takes to create a single cotton t-shirt?
No idea.
Roughly, okay. So for every t-shirt we own, it roughly takes around 750 gallons of water for a single cotton t-shirt to be made.
What?
And so think of
I was going to say 9 gallons. That was going to be my guess. That's crazy.
So when I was younger, I piled together all of my t-shirts into one big pile and calculated how many gallons. And it was, I can't remember it now because it was a few years ago, but it was a crazy substantial amount.
Thousands.
And over thousands. And I realized I need to make a change with what I create. If I want to be in the fashion industry, if I really love clothing.
Oh, there we go. There's your website.
Gorgeous.
Yeah, that's way better.
Now you're looking at that now instead of the wrinkled pieces.
The wrinkled pieces from my luggage. But these are some of my designs.
I bet you look good in it.
Thank you.
That's nice. That's really nice. We're going to check it out.
Outstanding.
Thank you so much.
Also for the whole family is unstoppablepamily.com. So and now I'm going to come back out to you, Rhonda, and say what other, we got some tidbits from interesting insights from your daughter. Anything else that we should look forward to in the book?
Yeah, I mean, the book is very empowering. So Diana Wentworth, who is also in the book, she was the co-author of Chicken Soup for the Soul. She wrote the foreword for the first book. And what we decided to do and why we wanted to create the Wild series is I want Women Gone Wild to reach more than Chicken Soup sold, which is 582 million copies. So Diana said the way that we do it, it's not about what you've done. It's how you make people feel. And so we need to write stories that really touch people's heartstrings, that really pull them in. And so every one of our authors in the book was actually taught by Diana Wentworth how to write this feel-good, real story, right? Authenticity, because I think that's what we're lacking these days, especially on social media. We're putting our best face on, we're putting our best masks on. And it's like, how can we tell a real story that captures someone's attention, but really draws them in? Because I think there's so many different scenarios, right? We've got women that were rescued their family from ADHD, her child had ADHD, and her chapter is about the wealth in her family because they have peace in her family. Hanalei writes about memories, the memories that she created because her dad, my husband's dad, died when he was 16 years old of AIDS, but his dad knew he had an expiration date. So he started taking his kids traveling before he died. And so our family, which is why, we travel, and now Hanalei, she captures memories instead of things. We've got women that are talking about their spiritual journey and how they've gone to where they've gotten and how they've grown from it. So every chapter in this book goes deeply into another woman's journey and their storyline of how they've gotten to where they are so that more women can connect and to feel each other's.
And if I can also add, this book, it's called the Wealth Edition, but it's not just about money. When we hear the word wealth, we immediately think of financial wealth, how can we make the most amount of money. This is the redefinition of wealth and how wealth is in our life. I find memories and collecting memories over things way more important in my life. It's not about the money. It's not about the financial gain. It's about the experiences I am able to have in this one lifetime. And so that's what I touch in my chapter, along with many other women who are sharing their stories on how they've redefined wealth in their life.
You've been to 52 countries, is that right?
Yeah, roughly around 52 countries. It's hard to keep counting.
What was your, it must be hard to figure this out, but I'm going to ask the sort of platitude question, which was your favorite, or which one stands out, or what, but I'm actually curious because there, when you see 52, you go, does anybody stand out? Does anything, I mean, you may have a kind of a, I really don't, I'm not so interested in your favorite because everyone has their own favorites, but what stood out for you?
I think one of the biggest places that have stood out for me has been Bali, Indonesia. It's basically the place where I call home. It's the place I've lived in the longest. Yeah. And it's where I've been able to collect the most memories. I learned how to surf there. I started going to school there. I met mainly my first friends there. And the culture is so beautiful. And just the environment and the space is so tranquil and calm. And it's really
and the people are that way too, right? It's a lot of greetings are done as such.
Gratitude, karma, and living by your karma, and that's something that I've incorporated into my life as well, and through the practices of finding gratitude as well.
So in my stream here, people are asking how you, Hanalei, got your business off the ground.
Yeah. So originally, when I remember when I was 7 years old, my mom asked me the question. Let me preframe this. A lot of kids my age, growing up, we get asked the question, "What do you want to be when you grow up?" And we get the normal response of, "I want to be a doctor. I want to be an astronaut, a ballerina." And all these questions are really speaking about what we want to be in the future. It's like, oh, we have to look forward to do this. Like, you can do what you love, but you have to go to school, you have to get a degree, you have to get married, you have to get a job. And then in the future, when you retire, you can finally do what you love or take time to use your retirement money well. And I feel like this is something that we're set up as, usually in first world countries, of what we're supposed to be doing. But I remember when I was 7, I got asked the question, what do I want to be now? And that kind of shifted my mind, even at the young age of 7 years old. I know you're like, oh, they don't know what they want to do. They can't think of anything. They just got to follow school and stuff like that. But it really opened my mind of like, what can I do now? I'm only 7, I'm only 8, I'm only 9, but what can I do now? And so I started listing off, I want to become a fashion designer. I want to become an artist. I want to become a photographer. And my mom told me, you could do all this now. It was a moment of, I finally felt like someone believed in me after getting told for so many years that I have to wait for the future. I finally felt like I was supported enough to be able to try something new, take more risks, and learn new things. And so I decided I want to become a fashion designer because that's what I used to look at in old Vogue magazines around the world in different hotels. I used to watch runway on TV, different runways on TV. And I'm like, I want to be like those people. And so my mom was like, okay, let's make something. Let's create something. And I remember asking for $20. And I bought threads, needles, fabric, and I started sewing together low keychains. And I began to sell them to my mom's clients at her different events. But the reason why they bought these keychains was because I told them my mission and my story. I told them my dream. I said, I want to become a fashion designer. I am a fashion designer. If you want to buy this little keychain that's handmade and probably will fall apart, you're going to be supporting my dreams for the future.
And they did?
And they did. And I made around $100. And I was able to make my first prototype with a tailor in Bali. Yep. And from there, I slowly started to reinvest. I gave my parents back the $20. And I've been slowly able to grow and share my voice, not just online, but also speaking on stage alongside my mom. And slowly I've been able to have my own keynotes as well. And so my main mission is to empower young girls and mainly kids my age to know that they can do what they love now. You don't just have to wait. And be that support system that my parents were able to give me. Because I know a lot of people in their life aren't able to have that support, aren't able to have that empowerment, that they don't have everyone who can ask them, oh, what do you want to be now? Like they think smaller. So I want to be able to open their minds and share that you can do incredible things now.
It's sort of interesting to me. I mean, you're really talking about creative endeavors, and it's interesting to me that musicianship is one of those areas where we do support kids early. It's like, and they are allowed to perform and do things, but it's as though we don't think about it with other creative endeavors the same way. And it's kind of interesting to me that maybe this will be, something new that
one of the guys on one of the males on I guess male, I don't know, I shouldn't say that,
on Restream
on Twitch said when I was 7 I was watching Pokemon and snorting pixie sticks.
oh, well, that's good.
So I mean, I think women. I think that's pretty much what my kids were like at that age. So you're inspirational, definitely.
Yeah. So thank you guys for joining us, Hanalei. Really, best to you, and congratulations on your work, your business, and hopefully it continues to grow. Mom, anything else, Rhonda? Do we miss anything that you wanted to point out?
No, I just want to encourage people to get access to the book right now. We hit 15 best-selling categories in the first 72 hours. And we've been ranking the top 2,000 and 3,000 of all-time Amazon books this whole week, because the digital book right now is available only for $1.99. We're keeping it available so that more people can get access to it. The physical book actually goes live in September. So you get access right now. Share it. Share more stories for more women. And our kids, they deserve it. I mean, of course, we got men buying this book like, wow, this is so inspiring. Like, we all need to do this together. And that's really the mission.
Yeah.
It's about, I want 80,000 women in a Coliseum together, sharing their wild stories and coming together. And that's slowly coming a reality. We have a New York Times Square billboard right here outside of our window. And so the more we keep sharing, the better. So you can go to wgwlive.com. I'll take you straight to Amazon. You can get access to the book right away.
Then RhondaSwan.com, and then it's HanaleSwan.com, and also UnstoppableFamily.com, right?
That's it.
Okay. Thank you guys. Thanks for joining us. You bet. Take care.
Thanks,
as we say,
Taylor.
as they do in Bali. Thank you. So
God bless you.
We have reconstituted.
William said he identifies as a mango.
A mango. Well, good for him.
Good. So I was off a little bit.
It's not as confusing as some of the plural pronouns that I find difficult to get my head around. I'm watching you guys on Restream. I'll get more to you guys in just a minute.
Aren't you proud of me though that I realized I called somebody a male on the internet and I caught myself?
I didn't.
I'm getting better at that. Like realizing that I'm not, that I'm assuming somebody named William is a male.
That's good.
I guess I tried, especially with the younger generation nearby. It made me.
And Tom Cigars is reminding you to respect his adjective.
Why not a womango?
So, all right. Well, thank you guys. We've reconstituted a little bit over there on the Twitter Spaces. Those of you that are there would like to ask a question, please. You request to come up, and I see you with your hand raised, and I'll bring you up to the podium here, just as a request.
Yeah.
If you do come up, you are by raising
try not to shut the Twitter Spaces.
We will
down.
try not to do that. I will not give Susan a co-hosting position. That will
that was a bad
obviate some of that. But if you do come up, you're agreeing to be on Twitter, Twitch, Rumble, Facebook, YouTube, all over the place. We sort of.
We want to hear what you guys have
everywhere.
Questions about.
Yeah,
today.
questions, and love to hear what you have to say. I wanted. There was a little bit of snarkiness I want to comment on.
Was it a woman or man?
I didn't even see. I didn't even check, but it kind of caught my eye, and there was quite a bit of it at the beginning. And thankfully, Hanalei was so genuine and sweet, and there was sort of tamping some of that out. But I really have a genuine question about what I was saying, and so I'll get to it after.
It's kind of interesting because like women, I've always been kind of a guy's gal. I never really had a lot of female friends, just because I didn't like the snarkiness and the behavior that I experienced. It was always kind of mean spirited or just catty or whatever growing up. So I always naturally gravitated towards men because they were just more doofus and fun.
More doofus.
No, but
Noted.
I get like nowadays, now that women are in the workforce and they're, entrepreneurs or they're working for big corporations. I mean, this was just in high school I'm talking about, that, somebody's trying to bring women together to be on each other's side because
Yes.
there's more power in numbers.
Of
So,
course.
And that
it's
I
something
love.
I always found weird that women did that to each other. They got to stop.
And I always found, I've said this before, but it's always pre-menopause. After menopause, women get really nice. So if you don't like the snarkiness, go for the, post-menopausal groups of women because they're a lot easier to get along
Fair
with.
enough.
I think it's more just I don't know, it's the competitiveness of, I don't know what it is, but it's sometimes it's just overbearing.
Well, there are developmental,
Overwhelming.
evolutionary psychological theories about fighting for limited resources, and that becomes sort of a strategy. But it got wired into our DNA, into our brain, and you can fight it. You don't have to do it just because it's something that's a predilection. But Mock Disaster came up with another category I guess it's gender other than mango, which would be womango. Womango, Susan.
I know, I already said that. You missed it. That was funny.
I thought you said mango. Caleb, did I just miss it straight
No,
up?
and then I said, "Oh, mango." And
Oh, I
laughed.
I
Sorry.
missed. So
You were thinking about something else.
I just missed it. I missed it. Sorry.
That was funny though. Thank
Yeah,
you.
Yep. So here's the deal. We're going to take a little break, and we're going to get your calls, and I want to talk about this snarky thing right after this. Don't know where to start on your skincare journey either? We all have that something we'd like to take care of. For me, it's the under eye bags and puffiness when I don't get enough sleep and the dryness here. Thankfully, I discovered Genucel. I started with their serum for under eye puffiness and then found their Genucel XV moisturizer, which dramatically changed my face's texture. After only a few uses. For Susan, she hates the annoying area under her nose during allergy season. She tried everything, but no matter what, her skin is dry and flaky and nothing seemed to help. Till she found Genucel's Silky Smooth XV moisturizer, soaked right in. She was hooked after one use and now loves all of their other products. Genucel uses a proprietary base formulated by a pharmacist and clinical levels of botanical extracts for the best skincare money can buy. Genucel products are cruelty-free, natural, and made in the USA. I cannot think of a better set of products to take care of my skin. Plus, they guarantee happiness with all of their products. See results you love guaranteed or your money back. Try Genucel's most popular package today and use code DREW for 10% off your entire order. That's GENUCEL.com and code DREW for 10% off. And, oops, thank you for the microphone.
I was looking at Hanalei's dresses.
Oh,
This
you
one's
like 'em?
really cute.
See how you are?
So cute.
Fashion police here.
So cute, you guys.
Yeah, Susan is the new Joan Rivers. Oh, come on, grow up. Oh, that is cute.
I know. I'm checking it out.
Nice.
You know how I love clothes.
Yes, I do.
And they're kind of my style too.
They are indeed, and I've had to support that habit for quite some time.
I know. That's why I married you.
Because I was able to do so.
You're supportive. He doesn't buy himself
supportive.
anything, but
No, I do not like spending money on clothes. It's what's really funny. I'd never really thought about this, but my most significant financial abuse at the hands of my father was around clothing.
Mm-hmm.
So my most significant anxiety is spending money on clothing. I can't do it.
I know.
And I married somebody who can't stop doing it. It's kind of an interesting irony.
I could stop.
Why don't we test that and see if that you sound like somebody who's addicted. I could stop.
The only problem I have right now is that my breasts keep getting bigger and I don't fit in my old dresses. I pull all my summer dresses out. I can't get them in there. Sorry, honey. So maybe I'll check out Hanalei's website.
Fair enough.
I like that dress with the chains on the back, though. That was really
Yeah, she had a
cute.
couple of those. It was interesting. So here's the snarkiness I saw, which was when I sort of announced this topic, there was a lot of, wealthy people being more wealthy or displaying their wealth, or rich people talking about getting rich or something. And I thought, I'm certainly they do well. They're entrepreneurs, but
They're trying to share their success.
right? Shouldn't we want everybody to try to have that kind of success? Shouldn't we want to support everyone to do their best and to thrive in the current system? And why is it disturbing? I understand it may trigger envy or jealousy or something uncomfortable, but shouldn't we be throwing that out there more so more people can benefit from that if they possibly can, or be inspired by it, or whatever it might be, so all ships might rise? Am I thinking about this wrong?
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to show your positivity these days, because if you show you have success and so many people are suffering because of, maybe COVID or inflation, and then they see that and it upsets them. But she's coming out and trying to say, we want to bring women together and help you find your inner, self, that you can be successful and happy. I mean, not everybody can do that.
And one of the interesting things that Elon Musk said recently, and by the way, for the Hey Hitlers on the restream, it's Hi Mommy, but it's your mom's house reference. Sorry, doesn't mean anything bad. I always have to point that out. But the least efficient, the system in our world that is least efficacious at allocating capital is government. And you should want the private people to allocate and grow capital as much as possible so they can do something good with it. Now, I understand people are nervous that they won't, or the taxes will be generated also. So plenty of taxes get generated when people grow capital. But the least efficacious organization in our world really is government in doing so. So we should be also each of us should be wanting to try to do that, to contribute. It's where the tax base comes from. It's where government's able to do their job. So it's kind of weird to me when people get sort of seeming to want to, I guess, put down is the word.
Oh my God, she's got a goddess jean jacket.
Uh-oh. Is that good?
That's pretty cute. Ooh, and a custom reversible robe.
All right, I'm going to bring some.
These are nice. These are really nice. It has kind of a Bali feel to it too, which I love.
Which is nice. That's affected by the culture she lives in.
Yeah.
All right, so let's see. How do I? Wait 1 second here, guys. It's add as a speaker, right? Okay. There's Candy. We'll get Candy up here. She wants to comment.
Don't make him a host.
No, I know. That's the whole thing could go off the rail. Candy, you have to anybody I call up, you have
Got
to.
it.
There you are.
Woo.
Hey there.
Hi. Long-time listener. I'm from Nashville. I am a mommy. But I
Mommy.
have a question about anxiety and SVT.
Yes.
I'm 36, average weight, not a model, but not Kate Moss either. When I was 18, I had my first SVT attack. It had.
Candy, I think you hit your mute button on your phone or something. There you are. Now okay, go ahead. Caleb, what do you think that is? You
has to
muted
unmute
yourself
herself.
on the phone.
Yeah,
you have to unmute yourself on. I think she. You have to
Sorry.
mute
Oh my gosh, I'm so sorry.
You keep remuting. You keep putting the mute button back on somehow. I don't. Maybe you're holding it up to your face.
Touching it to her face.
It was my AirPod. My AirPod died.
Got it.
Okay, so what's the last thing you heard?
So that you were at 18, you had your first episode of really what you had was PAT, right?
Well, they never really knew because they couldn't catch it on an EKG.
Okay.
About 5 years later, they caught it, said I had SVT.
SVT. Now SVT is a giant category. Did they talk about what kind of SVT?
No, because at the time I was a smoker, but I wasn't heavy in smoking or weight.
What was it possibly a sinus tachycardia?
I'm not sure. It was about 240 beats a minute.
Oh.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay. So that's the real deal. So that's almost a junk. That's okay. So that's the real deal stuff.
Immediate.
Yeah. Anything over 150, and that's why they didn't call it PAT. It was too fast. So, okay.
Okay.
Do you have something like Wolff-Parkinson's White or Lowen-Ganong-Levine syndrome? Have they looked for all these accessory pathways?
I have not had anything diagnosed except SVT. They put me on beta blockers a couple years ago, and that just made me kind of tired.
How old are you
Didn't really
now?
help it. I'm 36.
See, if you ever develop atrial fibrillation, that will be that could be a very serious rhythm problem you have. It sounds like you have what's called an accessory pathway that normally, okay, here's a little cardiology lecture. Normally, the rhythm of the heart begins at the SA node, which is on top of the heart in the atrium, the supraventricular, on top of the ventricles. And this supraventricular region can generate other rapid rhythms other than the sinus rhythm from the SA node. You can get junctional rhythms. You can get atrial tachycardias from somewhere. You can get atrial fibrillation. You can get atrial flutter. Those are all supraventricular rhythms. You can just get sinus tachycardia. But in you're up above 200, normally the supraventricular rhythms go through the AV node, which slows everything down. It's a filter. And that's what then gets into the ventricles. But if you have an accessory node way over here somewhere, it doesn't slow down. It goes directly to the ventricles. And if that's atrial fibrillation, then your ventricles fibrillate, which is sudden death. And so you might want to see, I would hope you would see what's called an electrophysiologist. Do you see that kind of doctor by any chance?
No, not yet, but I'm going to. And I am a paramedic, so I'm picking up what you're putting down.
You get it. Okay. So it's if you had said 150 or even 180, I would be like, all right, beta blocker, whatever, or calcium blocker, blah, blah, blah. But in the 200s, it's a very different matter. And so, and now you were asking about anxiety. Of course, if you have a heart rate of 240, you're going to feel anxious. So, the cart or the horse, I don't care. We got to take care of that. We got to take care of that atrial rhythm first. Does that make sense? Is
there a reason why it would only happen when I move suddenly?
When you move, so give me an example of how that move went.
Laying out in the sun and then hop into the pool.
Oh, well, that's, that does all kinds of crazy things when you dive into water, right?
Okay.
Have you ever heard of the diver's reflex?
I have not.
Yeah. It's how we break supraventricular rhythms. You splash cold water on your face, and it interrupts the rhythms. Now, so I really more wonder what's going on with your, you're getting at a very complicated physiology here that you would need evidence to figure out exactly what's going on with you. Okay,
gotcha.
And that would be what's called an EP study or an electrophysiology study. And if I were you, I would. How old are you now? 36. Yeah, it's time. It's time to get that done.
Okay.
So, okay.
Thank you.
And if not, and if they don't want to, that's fine. But keep emphasizing because that you had a heart rate of 240. That should get people's attention.
Awesome. Thank you, Dr.
All right, Candy. Great to talk to you. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you.
Thank you for being a paramedic too. Let's see. I've got Ray of Sun. Ray of Sun. What's going on there? How are you? You're still muted on your mic there, Ray. The lower left-hand corner, there's a little mic icon. There you are.
I'm so sorry. Thank you, Dr. Drew.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, this is actually Chad Quackenbush. I used to talk to you a long time ago.
Oh, yeah. Hey, Chad. What's going on?
Yeah. Hey, not too much. I've actually been going to therapy for the past few months because I switched from Zoloft to Wellbutrin.
Mm-hmm.
And I wanted to know your thoughts on it because I got to tell you, Wellbutrin seems a lot better than Zoloft. I got to tell you, it's been a huge difference in my life. I can tell you that.
I heard somebody else say that too recently.
Yeah, it is.
Remember the text I got?
Yeah, it's not like you can say, oh, there you are. You did a super chat too. Thank you for that.
Yeah, you're welcome.
A long time ago on vacation for the first time since COVID, 3 weeks driving. Yeah. Eastern Seaboard to Disney, taking our time stopping everywhere. Oh, thank you for that.
Excited.
Very kind.
Yes.
You're going to go to the Disney World?
Yes, we are. We're staying at the Polynesian for 4 days. We've been waiting for years.
So
the kids are pumped.
How old are your kids?
10 and 16.
Okay, good. The 10-year-old, watch out for overstimulation. We were talking to our kids about it, that we would end, we go down there with all these expectations of this perfect adventure. And by the end of every day, any kid under 10 is like melting down because they're so overstimulated.
Well, we did spread it. We spread it out pretty good. So we're going 4 times, with the park hopper and all that over 2 week span. So I tried to spread it all out. Yeah.
Great. So
oh my God, that's a lot of work.
I know.
It's
impossible for me to go, oh, this medicine is always this, or this medication is always that. I for a young, healthy adult, I like it when they start working on, underlying issues so they can get off all this stuff if possible.
Sure. That's my point. That's actually why I switched, Dr. Drew, because I'm actually trying to wean off in general.
Good.
And when I came off of Zoloft and went on to Wellbutrin, I can tell you it's a lot easier to get up in the morning. And it just seems like you're more awake.
Okay. So Wellbutrin has stimulant properties to it. It's a noradrenergic, we call that. But for people with anxiety, it can make their anxiety worse. So it's not necessarily the right thing for the right person. So you have to be careful. It is easier to get off of than Zoloft. Zoloft, when people don't respond well to it, can feel sort of blunted. And when they get off it, they can have zaps in their brain and feel very weird feelings up the back of their neck and things. So Zoloft, when it works, it's great. But when it, if it's not working perfectly, I should have a general feeling on these medicines. If they're not really working, if you're not thoroughly happy with how you're feeling, move on, find something else.
Yeah.
So good. I'm glad you did so.
My plan is we're taking about a year with my psychiatrist. We're going to take about a year and I'm going to wean off. But there's one last question I wanted to ask you about the Wellbutrin is I have a torn rotator cuff and prednisone. They want to put me on prednisone for a few weeks. And it's got when I looked that up on drugs.com, it said it has a huge contraindication. And I was wondering your thoughts on it.
That Wellbutrin, prednisone is contraindicated. Prednisone is contraindicated when somebody is on Wellbutrin?
Yeah, but then when you read fully into it, it literally says, that there could be a seizure affect.
I was going to say seizure is always the thing that people worry about with Wellbutrin. So if somebody has a seizure disorder, they're not supposed to take Wellbutrin. Similarly, people with eating disorders, particularly anorexia, can have seizures precipitated from Wellbutrin. So you talk to your doctor about it. I've never seen any problem with that. Although, why don't they give you a local injection? Why systemic steroids?
Well, I actually did. So when I first went to the urgent care, they didn't have the injection.
I see.
A local urgent care. I live rural, and they put me on prednisone for a couple of weeks, and then I went to an ortho, and he tried the shots twice, and different shots in different spots, and then they want me to have surgery, but I had this vacation coming up and I'm like, but literally nothing works on it except for prednisone. And it's like the last thing I want to take, but I also, I can't take meloxicam and all that those NSAIDs and all that stuff. So I don't know.
Yeah.
It's just such a pain. I don't mean to take up your time with this, but
it's no problem. Aging is not bueno. I have bad shoulders too. And it really bothered me lately. So I feel your pain. And I've been avoiding doing anything for the longest time, but you get to the point where you have to do something. So I get it.
After vacation. But thank you and thanks, Sue. I appreciate all you guys.
Great to hear from you. Thanks, Chad. Let's get Joe Giamatti up here. Joe, by the way, my Caleb let me know that my phone volume was down, so I apologize if the volume of the callers were off. Joe, you're muted. There you are.
Hello, Dr. Drew. How are you doing?
What's up?
I'm good. My dad has COVID, but I'm doing fine. And interesting, we're talking about anxiety, and I want to share here. So the first time that, I was dealing with my mom having COVID, I had very high anxiety, as, I've detailed to you enough times here. But now, with my dad having it, I'm not concerned at all.
Is it because everybody's been through it, including yourself?
I think that's probably it.
Yeah, it's a different experience now, and it's a different illness. Okay, now I don't want to, in a different circumstance. Like if you've not been vaccinated and you've not had any form of COVID, you can still get really sick from BA4 and BA5. Even the original Omicron, I saw some nasty cases in the unvaccinated population. So it's,
I had the original.
Omicron. and you've had it. Yeah. And so it's not as though, and I've seen people vaccinated. I've seen this rather commonly get what I think to be BA4, BA5 and get pretty sick, but not terribly sick. And people that take the Paxlovid immediately feel better. Now, I've also seen some rebounds on Paxlovid, but they've not been anywhere near as bad as the original symptomatology that I was treating with the Paxlovid. So it's just a different time. It's just a whole different thing. Most people are vaccinated. That mitigates it. People aren't getting serious illness. Paxlovid, if you want to talk to your doctor about that, that really aborts the whole thing. And so the fear of this, the anxiety, to get back to your original topic, should be diminished. It's almost like a phobia, right? I mean, the how do you deal with phobias? Kind of exposure, intolerable doses. And now you've been, and I'm not saying exposed to the infectious disease of COVID so much as exposed to the experience of it around you and seeing it being less dangerous. So people are getting some exposure therapy, I guess.
It almost seems like it's a totally different virus now.
It is a different illness. And remember, the other thing about Omicron, although I'm not so sure about BA4 and BA5, but the original Omicron anyway, it didn't get into the lung tissue. It stayed in the lung airways. And the real problem, if you recall, it seems like ancient history now, with COVID is the airways, the air sacs would fill with fluid and inflammatory material. And this Omicron doesn't seem to go out into the periphery like that. It stays in the airways. I know for myself, when I had it, it was here to here strictly. It was just like, it didn't even get out into my bronchial very, very much. I could tell.
Same.
Well, good. Is your dad doing okay? Whoops. You were going to tell us and your internet went out or something. Are you still
Good
there?
to hear from Joe.
Sorry about that.
There. How's your dad doing?
No. Hi, Susan. I hope you're having a great day. And this was a very good interview that you did today, and this was really
Right?
good.
It was kind of inspiring.
I want to ask one more question.
Yeah.
How do you like Twitter Spaces compared to Clubhouse?
I like it for two reasons. The sound quality is as good as Clubhouse, maybe a little better. Caleb, do you agree with that?
Yes.
Am I biased? Yeah, it may be even a little better. More people show up. And and it's available to more people because it's Twitter. It's not a club. I'm sort of an anti-club guy. I don't really like clubs that much. I like gathering places. I like people to be able to gather and speak their mind and do things. But when you really have a club, it's like,
And that was part of the appeal that they were selling with Clubhouse, is that you had to have an invitation only, and it was great for a while, but then anybody who wanted to call in on the show had to be invited. And so, but Twitter, everyone has a Twitter account.
That feels exclusionary, exclusive and stuff.
So
Angie, I saw you clapping
but
your hands. Yeah. I don't dislike Clubhouse. I liked it. It was a great leap forward,
some
too.
people hate Twitter, but that's the way it goes.
Joe's clapping too.
We got to do something.
Yeah. Joe.
So you could actually on here, you could do the different emojis here. I'm laughing and I'm liking you. That's for Susan.
Well, and
everybody needs to share them. Share if you care.
Caleb has your icon up on the screen here, so we're seeing you do that. And Angie's doing the same thing. Angie, did you want to be a speaker also?
Funny.
Because if you want to come up, and you have to do the requested to come up, and you're welcome to do that. Melissa, same thing. I see some hearts flying around. It's
that's because they all love you and they all love Susan.
They should love Susan.
Joe.
David is clapping. So it's very interesting seeing all this.
I like Joe. He never leaves me out.
That's an advantage already that I had not thought about with this, which is the icons and stuff. All right, thank you, Joe. We'll talk soon.
Thank you.
Yep.
Thank you. Have a great day.
Take care, sweetness.
And this is Martin. Let me get him up here. We're just connecting. There we go. Martin, what's going on?
Hey, look, I was kind of weirded out. Thank you. This is the second time I speak with you. I was kind of weirded out last time I spoke with you because I was looking at you on my television through the stream that you have on Twitter. So, and I was listening to it. It was off. And anyways, it was kind of weird.
Sorry about that.
No, it's me. So there's two things I wanted to bring up, and actually three. Let me bring up the first thing. So anybody that's down in the space that wants to speak, it's the far right hand in the emojis there. So I just wanted to
got it.
help.
Okay.
So, okay. Now on Rhonda Swan, I've known of her for a long time. She started in this network marketing business that was, and the reason I'm mentioning this is because you were asking why there's kind of some pushback from people. So she started in the network marketing business.
What is that? I didn't know what that is. What is network marketing business?
Network marketing is like, Tupperware, Avon, or
so it's like a pyramid thing.
Yeah, and the thing is, in this company that she was with, it was the product that they sold was how to brand yourself. That was the literal product. So, and whoever was in front of the camera doing the teaching, the training of how to sell your product, were getting all the sales because you're good at it. So people are like, oh, I want to be with you. And they call them teams, right? So like, I want to be on your team. But then you end up being you end up trying to do what they do, but you can't because the market is already saturated with the people who are winning. So I was in there. I got in there like at the end, and but I want to say like it's probably so she's good at what she does. She's good at branding, but there's a thing about this inspirational, like I'm going to motivate you to be good at what you do, that people just kind of like, the name of the title is literally it's greed. What are you greed? It's a greed trap, right? It's you make 6 figures. I can show you how to make 7 figures, right?
I see. Rather than contribute something meaningful.
Yeah, so you end up like everybody that makes the money it funnels up, right? And that's really what that is.
Okay.
And so anyway, I just wanted to mention that.
Okay.
And the second thing is I've heard you mention meditation, and I retain these numbers. For 80% of people, it's good for anxiety. For 20%, it's detrimental. And I feel that I'm in that 20%.
Yeah, me too. But now that comes out of the mental health world, that data. From the meditation world, what they will tell you is that's just part of the process, and those 20% need to work harder. They'll get there. I don't know if that's true or not, but I've heard both opinions. I just know that for me to be meditative, I have to be physically doing something. It just doesn't. Although I've been lately listening to a lot of Wim Hof and all these breathing exercises, and I'm impressed. I mean, I get something, but it's also
he's the cold shower guy.
He's the ice swim under the ice guy, but he's got some breathing exercises online, and there's a book called Breathe that a friend of mine made me read, and so I'm convinced that there's the focus on breathing and breath is something that's been around for 3,000 years. I mean, it's been thought of as an important healing mechanism. I realized I didn't know anything about it, so I started paying attention to it, and it's helpful, something, but it's not panacea,
Panacea?
And it doesn't cure everything. It doesn't cure everything. Panacea is something that cures everything. It's just and so I think everyone has to. We are all so different. Even though we're a lot the same, we're all very different, and people have to kind of come up with their own strategies. And so I don't fault anyone figuring out for themselves what it is that works for them.
Yeah, can I talk about like a personal experience where like I just feel that it's promoted so much. Like you've got the Sam Harris's that are like, do this and it's perfect, and and I think it's not oversold, but I think you're not talking about the detrimental parts. And there's an article that I found from I forget it's a good article, and it's a good company, a journalistic company. I can't remember. I'll come back. But it's basically the things that I experienced where it can create the anxiety. It can duplicate what you're doing.
Yeah, there was an article I just saw last week in something, and interestingly, it's funny we're having this conversation, that talked about multiple other side effects that people had reported.
And I would say like someone with trauma, for me, it was like it wasn't just the trauma. There was almost like this PTSD of something that I'd actually never lived. And every time I closed my eyes, wanted to go, I was doing transcendental meditation, had the mantras, and every time, like I would end up like, oh my God, like literally being attacked in my subconscious.
Would you feel like you were falling into an abyss or something? Was it that kind of feeling?
No, I had visual images, like you know, the PTSD where I've heard someone
Flashbacks.
as an example, like a
Yeah.
car crash, and you see the wall coming at you all the time, and
Oh
you feel
boy.
that anxiety.
Yeah, boy.
But it was
Oh God.
different. I don't want to describe what I saw.
Yeah,
It's
I'm so
horrific.
sorry, Martin. Jesus. Oh,
Yeah. So I had to unprogram myself because the transcendental meditation (TM), they give you a mantra, and part of that is you program your brain to go into that.
Yep.
Like, I don't know if it brings you into the alpha state when you do meditate, but or I mean when you do like repeat the mantra in your mind. I don't know if like it's that. It's because it's really just a sound that you're repeating over and over again.
Yeah.
But the problem is I would like go into it when I wasn't. Like it kind of, if you were singing a song, well, that song just kind of gets stuck in your
Yeah,
your mind.
no, I get it. Listen, it does not sound productive. It does not sound therapeutic. So I get it. That's why I worry about, like the word panacea is the word I use, which just means a cure for all. And I worry about people advocating panaceas because we're more complicated than that. We just are. Hey, Martin, I got to get a couple people up here. So thank you for joining us. I'll talk to you soon, I hope. All right, you bet. And Angie wanted to come up. Angie, you're allowed to be a speaker here. Angie, you got to unmute. Don't forget the mic in the lower left-hand corner. There you are. You're still muted. There you are. Hey there.
Hey, me. Hi. Yeah, it takes a little while just to connect while so I didn't hear what you were saying while I was connecting.
Gotcha.
Hi.
Hey there.
Yeah, I actually didn't have anything that I wanted to ask. Just that you were actually saying at the time that I was waving or clapping my hands.
Well, the reason I caught your attention is I believe you're the ones that went on Twitter and said, "Oh, they ended the thread." I'm like,
I said, "Oh no, it ended already."
We didn't mean to end it. It was Susan. Cop to this. You there? What happened?
You made me the host, and then I was switching over to another Twitter page, and I guess I
canceled the whole thing.
Turned it off. Yeah, I don't know what happened.
We're figuring it out. We are figuring it out.
It's a lot of responsibility.
Yeah.
This is tough.
I did I did listen to your first one and I was laughing, and now I can see one of my friends in the chat next to me, Jay Lee. Hi.
Oh, nice.
She's American.
Very nice. And you're Australian, or where are you from?
I'm Australian, yes.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
But I do listen to you. I listen to all your podcasts and everything, and I was listening to the first one that you had, Twitter Spaces, and I was not laughing at you. I was laughing with you.
It's okay to laugh at us. It's all quite all right.
It was very enjoyable.
Creating some levity is not a bad thing. And Jay Lee is also showing you some heart, so there you go.
She is. She's in my circle of Twitter people. We've been doing Twitter Spaces like pretty much every day, all day, every day for about a year. So when I was listening to you, I was going, oh, that is so cute.
That we're so new to this. How interesting. So
yeah, and I think someone else was sort of saying, oh, you can bring this person up and then do this and press this and
yeah. So no, we're good. So where in Australia are you?
Queensland, Brisbane.
We've never been down there. Oh, Susan's leaning in.
I love her voice.
Really?
Oh, she likes your accent.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, gee, you're being overtaken. Now I can see another one of my people joining.
One of your Twitter Spaces people. Yeah.
Yes.
So are they lightening up on you guys in terms of the COVID? That was the part of the country that got really locked down, right?
No, not at all.
Melbourne? Melbourne did that, huh?
Yeah, Melbourne and Sydney, but Melbourne really bad.
Okay.
We were not allowed to leave Queensland pretty much.
Right.
So we were safe. We were allowed to do anything and everything. And it's strange because I work for the government, so I work with a lot of teams that are across Australia, and when you'd speak to them, it was just so hard to believe that we were going out everywhere and to restaurants and doing everything,
right?
And these people were locked inside their houses.
So how are they looking back on that? Are they resentful? Are they angry? Does it feel foolish? Does it feel like a good idea? How do they look back on it?
Well, without being political, I think that the premier, who's in charge of the state, it was all left up to the premiers. Pretty much.
So again, my fear, if you've heard me maybe talk about this, my lesson is that centralized authority in medicine is a bad idea. The more centralized things got, the worse the decision making was, and the more arbitrary and the more damage they did. The less nuance, the less risk reward analysis were done. It was just sledgehammer. And why do you think, let me ask you, this is the thing I'm struggling with right now. We can see now the excessive and I dare say insane policies of the Chinese Communist Party when it comes to zero COVID. Why did we all glom onto that as the desirable way to approach this pandemic? Any sense in your country?
No, absolutely none. And it's not funny. In 2009, we went through a really horrible death in our family from influenza and pneumonia, which turned into, the death was ARDS,
Yeah.
So that was January 2019. So here we are a year later, watching every single ventilator. And I'm still, I'm working through it's very hard to listen to any ads and stuff with ventilators. So for the last 3 years, pretty much that's all we've seen. I can't understand. I think a lot of it was very political. It turned very political.
Sure seemed it. Sure, weirdly said that. And it seemed what was astonishing to me was the people that were calling other people fascists were the ones showing government excess and modeling their interventions after the Chinese Communist Party's policies. It was was mind blowing where people went with this. But there we were, and it was worldwide. It was worldwide. That's the part I find so fascinating.
And I think a couple of them too have also sort of said, thank you so much, premiers, for keeping us safe. Which I find sort of.
I'm not sure that's true. Show me the evidence. I'm not sure. If the evidence is there, I'd happily take a look at it. It just seems like the virus does what it does, and there we are. Australia's border closed to most foreign nationals for 2 years. Strict lockdowns, mask mandates introduced, along with vaccination orders for key workers. And I think Australia ended up about like everybody else, including Sweden. Sort of the virus just does what it does. And
probably with a lot of mental health issues.
Well, that's the part that was the part I knew we were heading towards. I could just see
very much so.
The mental health consequences of this are going to be for a long time and maybe eternal for certain age groups. I don't know, but I'm hoping we find our way through this. But I found myself remarking about it yesterday with a group of people saying, just craving to be around people. People need to be around other people. They just do. It's a necessary feature of living.
Isn't that fun? I'm an extrovert and I'm a people person. And when we sort of started working at home, I thought, wow, this is great. I'm getting so much done because people aren't bothering me all the time. This is wonderful. Then I really started, not being very mentally healthy.
Well, isn't that interesting how it creeps up on you, right? And then it stays with you for a long time afterwards. The word bleak has been on my tongue lately in terms of what that time was and what we've done to people. But Angie, thank you for stepping up, and thank you for being part of Twitter Spaces, and we'll hopefully see you here soon.
Thanks so much.
Okay, you got it.
If you need, I'm available.
Thank you so much. Cheers, mate. Okay.
Bye.
Tomorrow we have Dr. Gleb Sibursky, an expert on hybrid work. He's a very much of an advocate for work amongst people and not, and at home, hybridizing it, so to speak. I'm a little cognitively biased against that, and so we'll, I'm sure, talk about that. I've discovered from talking to Dr. Sibursky that I have a positive bias, and a lot of people have a negative bias. The people that took the zero COVID approach clearly had a negative bias. It was going to be the end of the world if we allowed the virus to do what it does, which it did anyway. But the negative bias may have been part of what the decision-making, what distorted the decision-making in some of these folks.
Cool having people from Australia come on your show.
I know. Somebody was saying I should go do something on Australia recently. I forget what it was I was thinking about, but that would be great. No, really, I would happily do that.
I know.
We like Sydney. Okay. Well, in any event, we thank you all for being here today. We thank Ms. Swan and her daughter for being here, and Rhonda Swan and
Michelle for booking everything.
Michelle for booking. And again, tomorrow at 3:00, we will be here. We'll be taking calls as usual from Twitter Spaces. Anything else, Mr. Caleb or Miss Susan? Anything else I missed here that we need to tell people about? Oh, how dare you, Susan? I forgot the bobblehead. .store/shop. And Leopold's been on here a little bit, Susan. We got to get Leopold on the show, maybe next week or something.
Well, he was on our show today.
You owe him an appearance.
I know, and also Harley.
Oh.
They both won.
Oh, that's right. Harley won too. That's right. Okay, fair enough.
But I don't know. Harley got COVID and he couldn't do it because he was coughing too much. And then I don't know. I just have to do it.
Fair enough.
You have to sign the bobbleheads too. We have to send those off.
Okay. Let's do it. Bobbleheads, everybody. And we will see you tomorrow with Dr. Gleb Sibursky.
Ta-ta, everyone.
Ask Dr. Drew is produced by Caleb Nation and Susan Pinsky. As a reminder, the discussions here are not a substitute for medical care, diagnosis, or treatment. This show is intended for educational and informational purposes only. I am a licensed physician, but I am not a replacement for your personal doctor, and I am not practicing medicine here. Always remember that our understanding of medicine and science is constantly evolving. Though my opinion is based on the information that is available to me today, some of the contents of this show could be outdated in the future. Be sure to check with trusted resources in case any of the information has been updated since this was published. If you or someone you know is in immediate danger, don't call me, call 911. If you're feeling hopeless or suicidal, call the National Suicide Prevention Lifeline at 800-273-8255. You can find more of my recommended organizations and helpful resources at drdrew.com/help. Pilates, yoga, all very important. I don't think with any of those interventions, they would include sucking your own dick. So I would just say maybe that's not a great way to sort of measure your progress.